Chief Scott Lewis is going to walk you through a presentation to provide you some initial information. So thank you again for coming. Welcome.
Okay. As Chief Snyder said, I'm Scott Lewis. I'm Division Chief. Recruitment's just getting started. You all know that, or you wouldn't be here tonight. Most of the information we're going to give you is on the website for NeoGov or the GreshamOregon.gov site. It really provides a chance to hear it in person, ask questions. If you're new to the process, it may seem complicated or lots of different steps. If you apply for a bunch of other places, then it's old hat to you, and we'll wonder why you weren't hired someplace else first. Just kidding, we're not judgmental. Okay. So, Gresham Fire is the city fire department for the city of Gresham, and through contracts we provide fire and EMS services and special rescue services for Wood Village, Troutdale, and Fairview to the north of us, and Fire District 10, which is a portion of unincorporated Multnomah County, kind of between us and the Sandy River. About 60 square miles and 148,000 people served. It's not a quiz, and you will not need to know it for the interview. We operate out of 6 fire stations that are ours, and 1 we share a station with the city of Portland. A little bit we'll talk about shift schedules, and now we'll explain how we share the station with Portland. So 4 stations are within the city of Gresham proper. 1 is in Troutdale, and 1 is east in the unincorporated Multnomah County. In addition to emergency operations, we also have fire administration, life safety division, that's fire prevention, fire investigation, training division. Captain Jeff Ingram is here, he's our training officer. EMS, which is emergency medical services, and we have about 16,000 calls for service a year. 16,000 calls for 148,000 people is busy. If you look around at other fire departments that may be larger, like per capita staffing to calls for service, we're busier than just about everybody else. Our guys and gals run a lot of calls every day. In addition to fire and EMS response, we have technical rescue, that's high angle and low angle rope rescue, urban search and rescue. The building collapses or blows up, we have that availability to us. Water rescue, which is top water. We no longer do dive rescue. Hazardous materials team, our hazmat team is a state response team, and they cover 8 counties and 400 square miles or something ridiculous like that. So it's a very large response area. We also have a sea burning response, which is chemical, biological, radiological, nuclear, and explosive devices, i.e. mass casualty. And we also have a couple of firefighter paramedics that are trained as SWAT medics, and they respond with the SWAT team, and they do training with the SWAT officers. They carry a gun for SWAT call-outs and those kind of things. So, what is the schedule? That's what everybody wants to know. They have a neighbor or a friend or a buddy who's a firefighter, and they know they work a strange schedule. There's a bunch of different schedules around. Ours is pretty simple. It's a 24-hour workday followed by 48 hours off. So 24-48, you work one day from 7 in the morning till 7 the next morning, and then you're off for 48 hours. So if you work Monday, off Tuesday, Wednesday, you work Thursday. Following week, you'll work a Sunday, Wednesday, Saturday, and it just repeats. Your family will never know what day you work unless you give them a color-coded calendar. 365 days in a year, 3 shifts, about 121 shifts available for you to work, or 10 days a month. And then anything else we'll take off that. Vacation days, there's something called Kelly days, which is an extra day off every 12th shift to reduce your annual work week. Doesn't matter, you'll learn it later. So, more by the numbers, and this is something you'll be interested in. While the starting wage is $4,700 a month, The top out is at $7,300 a month, or about $88,000 a year. And that's currently, there will be most likely cost of living increases every year or so as your tenure goes on. When I started, $14,500 annually. So I've been doing it a long time. If you are a paramedic, there's an incentive pay of 9.5%, or almost 10% if you're a medic. And then we also have specialty team pays for the SWAT, the water rescue, the hazmat, and they vary between 3 and 6%. Don't put those down as anticipated wages. You have to work your way on the teams. It doesn't start your first day. However, if you're a medic, your paramedic pay starts first day or when you go to shift work? First day. Okay, now this is the part that is probably more interesting, is how you qualify to be a candidate and the steps going forward. Minimum of 18 years of age at the date of hire. Anticipated date of hire is the Tuesday after Labor Day, but that's kind of a flexible day. It could move later into the fall or even into January. But the target right now is around the first week of September. You must have a high school diploma or a GED. You must have a valid driver's license. It doesn't have to be an Oregon driver's license. If you currently live in California or Washington, a valid driver's license. Again, those are at time of hire. If you don't have a driver's license because you're currently under suspension with DUI, well, we're going to disqualify you soon. You must be an emergency medical technician, paramedic, or intermediate by the date of hire. If you are currently in school, you need to know when that class ends and when you will be able to get your state certification. If you're in class until September 1st, it's not going to work. You have to have the certification the day you come to work here. The application is all online. You cannot fill it out and email it in. You can't drop it off at the front desk. We don't accept printed copies. If you don't have computer access, you can go to a public library. The deadline to apply is March 29th at 11:59 p.m. Don't wait till the last minute. If the system glitches and you lose all your information, you don't want to be there pounding on a computer saying, I'm so close. You need to be so close a week ahead. Don't wait till 11:59 p.m. on the 29th. You will notice that it says attached cover letters are encouraged, and encouraged is all in caps. You should take that as a hint that we want to see a cover letter. Next is Candidate Physical Ability Test, or CPAT. I've heard in the last couple of days that it's tough to get on a CPAT schedule if you don't already have your CPAT. They do it, I think, 5 or 6 days a week in Everett. It's a bit of a drive, but if you can't get one someplace else before then, it might be worth your trip up the highway one day. You need to make an appointment. You can't just show up. Additionally, you need to take the fire team test. That is through National Testing Network, NTN. There's links online that will get you there. One other thing about the CPAT before I get too far along the line, if you currently have your CPAT and it's a year or more old, we're not going to accept it. So it cannot be done before March 29th of 2018. But when the application closes is when we want to look at your CPAT certificate. If it's older than a year, we're not going to accept it. There is a very long questionnaire attached to the online application, or the NTN portion. It asks you addresses, former employers, references. Have you ever done this? Have you ever done that? It is far better to say, yes, you've done that, than it is for us to find out later that you did that and you didn't disclose it, or that you lied about it. You will be dismissed quicker if we find out about it than we will if you tell us. Some things, time and distance works. If you got stopped for DUI when you were 18 and you're now 30, and your driving record is clear, you're probably okay. If you got stopped for DUI when you were 18 and you're now 19, you're not going to be okay. We will find out. Complete the personal history questionnaire honestly and correctly and completely. If we have to guess, you're out. Fill in the blanks. There's an oral board interview. It's a panel interview. There will be a fire captain, a fire lieutenant, a firefighter, and a non-fire person from the city on the interview panel. Roughly 100 to 120 of the applicants will make it to the interview panels. So we anticipate 450 applications. About a quarter of those will make it to the interview panel. After the interview panel, we'll do some background investigation, then there'll be an executive interview. And if you make it through the executive interview, we'll look into your background even a little further. The final step is a chief's interview with Chief Snyder, one-on-one, and he gets the final call on who comes to work with us. When the chief gives you the thumbs up, then we go to offer of employment, and it's a contingent offer. Clear drug screen. If you smoke pot, even though it's legal in Oregon or Washington or Colorado, we don't care. We will fail you if you have pot in your system when we do your drug screen. If you do smoke pot, stop. If you hang out with people that smoke pot, stay away from them. We are particular. There's going to be 600 of you, 450 of you that want a dozen jobs. We get to be selective. Also contingent on the job offer is a physical exam. We'll send you to an occupational health doc and they'll do a physical. And if you have something that will prevent you from doing the key components of the job, we will rescind our job offer. There's a more detailed background investigation. That's where we dig really deep into you. We go and talk to your neighbors and your first grade teacher and all that kind of stuff. Maybe not that. And we do a psychological evaluation. We send you to a doc, a psychologist, to find out whether or not you're wired to do this job. Not everybody is, and that's okay. I can't be a rocket scientist, but I'm okay with this. So, again, the important dates, and these are all on the online thing. March 29th, deadline for the application. Don't wait till the last day. April 12th, the CPAT deadline. CPAT deadline is at 5 o'clock, not at 11:59. We only do that to keep you on your toes. Really don't know why we did it that way, but that's what it says. It's on the online thing. 5 o'clock on the 12th for your CPAT. And again, CPATs are hard to get into. A lot of other fire departments in the state of Oregon are testing right now. So if you're not already scheduled to take one, you may have to look elsewhere for it. The first panel interview is May 20th to 23rd. You should keep those dates open. Executive interviews, June 4th through the 7th. You should keep those dates open. Fire chief interview, June 11th and 12th. If you're getting married and taking a honeymoon, you should be back before September 3rd. If you've already made reservations on your boat ride or your plane ticket, and you think you're going to be successful here, you may want to change those dates while you still can. Or you may wait until the middle of June to find out whether or not you're going to make it back from your honeymoon on time. Those are the dates. They're important dates. We have had people have to modify honeymoons so they can make it to their academy on time. Every time so far, the spouse, male or female, has been understanding and wanted to come back from Fiji or wherever. Okay, now we're open for questions. Up here I have Lieutenant Chief Eric Loughran. He's the A-Shift Battalion Chief. He works 24 hours a day, as the firefighters do, and he's in charge of everything that happens in the city on his given day. Chief Mitch Snyder, he's in charge of all of us. He tries to keep us in line and do good things. Jay Cross is our EMS officer. He's captain. Jeff Ingram is captain. He's our training officer. Hiding behind the wall there is Lieutenant Mike Snodgrass, and And he's here videoing this just so I don't know, he just did. So we've all answered questions. We've all got lots of experience. We've done lots of these exams. We've done lots of these interviews. Before I get too far along, Kathy Forsythe from HR is here as well. So now it's your time. We'll answer your questions. If we don't know, we'll make a note. We'll take your name and number and we'll get back with you. I think between most of us, we'll be able to figure out what's going on. And if you have no questions, grab a cookie and go home. Okay. Anybody? Anything at all? Front row?
What's Gresham Fire Department's policy with additional training, such as wanting to go to medic or any of those other options you mentioned, like SWAT medic or?
So if you're not a paramedic when you come here, after you've been here a while and you've proven your worth and you want to go to medic school, we are sponsoring a firefighter or two to go through medic school post-hire. Our rate that we will reimburse you at is the community college rate. So roughly $7,400 is what it would cost at PCC to go through medic school. If you go through NTCI, what is it? NTCI, that's $10,000 or $11,000. We're still only going to reimburse you the $7,500 or whatever the PCC rate is. Your time is on your own. Your books are on your own. It's just a tuition reimbursement.
So how does that work with balancing the requirements for the department and then going to the program?
You would do that program after your probationary period is up. We'll announce an opportunity. We'll evaluate those who ask to go. And again, if we hire you and you're not already a paramedic, you need to concentrate on being a firefighter first and then look further ahead. Most of our training that we require you to do, we will pay you for your time, we will pay for the class, and if you're going away, we'll pay somebody to sit in your seat while you're at class on a work day. That includes water rescue, SWAT, hazmat, those kind of things. Again, those are usually a few years in, not something that somebody's going to do in their first year or two.
Right.
Hi.
What if your CPAT expires in July?
Then you're okay, because it hasn't expired as of March 29th of this year. Yes.
What's the difference between Oregon and then just National Registry as far as EMT goes?
Oregon will give you reciprocity for National Registry EMT.
Okay, perfect. And then I have one more. How long is the academy?
From the beginning till the end.
Okay.
10 to 12 weeks.
Perfect.
Something about the academy that we should probably talk about that we don't know the answer to yet. Historically, the academy has happened here in town at our training center on San Rafael. We are looking at maybe doing some of the academy at DPSST in Salem. If we do that, that will be where you report to work. Most of you probably don't live in Gresham already. You're going to be commuting someplace. You may be commuting to Salem for the Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, and then back here for the Thursday event. DPSST has dorms. They have cafeteria. That'll be included if you don't want to drive, if you want to stay there so you can study. Again, still looking at it. We have till September. We don't have it figured out ourselves yet, but either of those options is kind of on the table. There will probably be some field trip days to DPSST, even if the academy is held in Gresham.
Already having the NREMT, when would you need the Oregon State EMT card?
Jay?
Yes. And just to clarify with this thing the lady asked, if you're an EMT basic, National Registered EMT basic, the reciprocity is pretty easy. We just pay the fee. I give a couple of hoops to jump through, but they're pretty easy. Pay the fee. If you're a paramedic, you have to have an associate degree. So there's more to it than just that, but you have to have an associate degree and have to have some specific classes. But if we're talking EMT basic, it's really just a couple of mouse clicks and paying the fee.
So when you come to work. This side?
You guys, so you guys run medical calls, do you guys have your own ambulance service, or do you have to contract that for somebody else?
Neither.
Neither, you don't.
We do not transport, we do not have ambulances. Likewise, we don't contract it out, Multnomah County does.
Okay,
So AMR is the ambulance transport provider for the entire county.
okay.
So we run EMS first response. If it's a serious call, our medic will usually jump in the back with the AMR paramedic right into the hospital, and either we'll pick them up or they'll take a cab home. So the AMR is the transport ambulance provider.
I've already submitted my application. I didn't know about the cover letter desires or a way I can attach a cover letter after submitting an application, or is there a different?
You happy?
You can go ahead and email a cover letter to hr@greshamoregon.gov.
Okay.
Can you say that one more time, please?
hr@greshamoregon.gov.
Please.
Yes.
Just to follow up to that, is that the same address as the CPAT if it's a non-national testing network CPAT?
Any additional documents that you would like to submit to attach to your application will go to the same email address.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
I suffered a pretty extensive back injury. I've recovered from it. I'm performing volunteer fire duty. Do you think that's going to preclude me when it comes to the physical portion of it?
1001? NFPA 101? 1001, is that the firefighter standard?
Yeah.
So I think it's NFPA 1001 is the firefighter standard, and it has the medical requirements. I think that's a great question. You should probably take those to your doc, whoever did your back work, and say, these are the requirements, doc. Is there anything in here that's going to disqualify me? Because that's what we ask our occupational health doc to look at, is the national standard. So it's not a Gresham standard, it's a national standard for whether or not somebody's fit for the job. So, great question, come to the answer. Your specific case.
Yeah, I'll look at
Yeah.
So it looks like there's interviews on the May 20th, 23rd, and then there's executive for the chiefs. Are those just like another panel?
Yeah. So the interviews on 20 through 23rd are panel interviews, again with captain, firefighter, lieutenant. The exec interviews are chief officers such as Chief Lochran over here, and those are the, and so kind of a screening interview. Start with all your applications, 450, 600, whatever that is. We're not going to take all of you to an interview. So using your scores and your applications and your personal history questionnaires, we're going to narrow that down to between 100 and 120 people. Those 120 will go to panel interviews, and from there we'll take up to about 30 or so to exec interviews, and they're going to narrow that list to the 10 or 12 that they're going to forward on to Chief Snyder for final approval. So 400 applications, 120 interviews, 30 exec interviews, 10 or 12 of you to Chief Snyder. So a little better than 1% odds, but not huge. You have a question?
Me? I did have a question. I actually have two. The first one was, could you tell me a little bit about why you've stayed with Gresham so long and what makes you feel like it offers something different than the city of Portland or Tualatin Valley or Clackamas?
So I'm not the best example in the room, just because I'm the oldest example in the room. I worked in Ohio for 20 years before I came to Gresham, so I've only been here 16 years. Eric Lochman, for example, has been here 30 years, and he worked in Eastern Oregon before. So I think, from my perspective, it's a great community, a lot of support for the work we do within the community. Every organization will tell you they have great people. I think we really do. You go to work for the city of Portland, you're more likely to be a number. Here, we're going to know who you are. You're going to know who you work with. If you go someplace that has 450 or 700 firefighters, and you get transferred to a station, you're going to be working with people you've never even seen before sometimes. So it's a smaller group. As a number of stations, number of firefighters we have, you will run more calls here than you will in either of those other places. They may have more calls total. We're running more calls with fewer people, so we're very busy. A wide variety of calls, everything from helping Mrs. Smith off the floor to shootings, stabbings, house fire, apartment fires, trench rescues, rope rescues. The guys and gals are very busy and they do a lot of good work. Eric, why don't you jump in?
Yeah, for sure. I think coming here, you're going to be busy. We're probably, out of the metropolitan area, we're probably one of the top paid, which is good. That always makes it nice, but we're busy. We invest in our people, so we make sure we hire the best people we can hire, okay? So when we get you here, we put you through our academy. Our academy isn't, a lot of academies out there in the United States are there to wash you out, right? They're gonna make sure that they're gonna do everything they can to wash you out. We're here, we're gonna hire the best people, and then when you go to our academy, we're gonna make sure you're successful. So that's another kind of difference that we have from a lot of the departments around the country. But also when you get to the line, we're also going to make sure that you're successful, because when you come out of the academy, you come to the line and you're going to be put in a fire station, and we're going to make you redo almost everything in the academy, but with your engine company. It's called a task book. You have to get your task book completed. When you're done with your task book, we're going to send you back to a 3-week academy, and you're going to learn how to be an AO. All of our people in the department drive the fire engine, right? So you're an AO, an apparatus operator. So you're going to go back there for 3 weeks, and then when you come out, you have a AO task book, and when you get done with that, that takes months to get done. So you do your AO task book. If you're a paramedic and if you're an EMT basic, we're going to FTEP you. We're going to send you with one of our paramedics, and they're going to sign you off as an EMT to make sure that you're competent. And then if you're a paramedic, you're going to go through a longer FTEP program in order to make sure that you know our system and that you're successful and ready to be a paramedic in our system. Okay, that takes a full year. And your probation, you get out of the academy and then your probation starts. Okay, so that takes a full year of full commitment. So we give 110% to you. You need to give us 110%. So that's why I say you come to work here. Okay, we are extremely busy because we not only do a lot of runs, but we also do a lot of project work. We also do a lot of we go out and we look at buildings. We go out and do a lot of training. Today, for instance, we have a burn house. We were doing a burn house all day today. So that's the kind of stuff we do. We stay extremely busy, okay? And our people are happy. We have a good culture here in our fire department, a good culture in that people like coming to work, okay? They like coming to work. There's not a lot of bitching and complaining, okay? So that's Gresham Fire right now, okay?
Can I ask my follow-up question to that? If you, outside of having your paramedic, if you have your TECC, or like I have my hazmat tech, I was highly involved in hazmat, are those certificates that you guys will honor later on after a year of probation if you're successful to get
Once you
accepted?
get off probation, how you get on a specialty team is, so you've been in the department 3 or 4 or 5 or 6 years, sometimes it takes longer, there has to be an opening. So what if, say there's an opening in hazmat, they're going to interview whoever wants to interview for it. So you send a letter to Chief Traeger and you say, I want to be on the hazmat team. They're going to do an interview for you. Let's say you become successful. Then they're going to send you to hazmat training that the state provides, weeks 1 and 2, and then weeks 3 and 4. Then you come out, you're a hazmat tech, then you get on the team. So really your certificates kind of help you in your interview when you go and interview for it, but they're going to send you to training anyhow because you need to be an Oregon State hazmat tech, okay?
So I think it's important for everybody in the room to understand that we're looking for the best people. Maybe not the person that has the most check marks next to their name. Those help you in the interview because we're going to give you an extra good look. If you've been through paramedic school, you're already a level 2 firefighter, you've been to hazmat school, those things are attractive to us and we will look at them. But if you're a dud, they're not going to help you. If you're not a dud, they will help you. But we want to hire the best people. If you go someplace that's strictly civil service, they'll give you a written exam, and they'll number that exam, and whoever has the highest score gets hired, and they'll work their way down until they have the 15 or 20 or 30 people, however many they need. and then they will use the academy to wash people out. We'd rather bring on good people to begin with and make them to be great firefighters. So if you have experience, that does help you. It may set you apart from the man or woman who went in before or after you. But by the same token, we want the best people, and that's what we look for first. So we don't want to wash somebody out of the academy because they don't have the right drive or the right motivation. We don't use the academy to sort out the undesirable people from the people that are really shooting stars. We try to do all that through a very deliberate background application and interview process.
Can you explain what the first day or an average day during academy would look like? And then my second part to that question would be, will you be able to get your SOPs or your fire rescue protocols prior to academy to be able to study them, including the Tri-County protocols for EMS?
You can, but it won't help you much because there's not a whole lot of SOP protocol stuff as part of the academy. That's more of your field training stuff after you're in the station. And I'll let Captain Ingram answer the question of a typical day at the academy. The first day is a lot of paperwork, sign up HR, health insurance, all that kind of stuff. That's 3 or 4 days, but then we really get into the meat of the academy.
So during your academy, you're going to be trained firefighter 1 and 2, as well as hazmat. We'll touch on the specialty teams. And our goal is to make you successful, but you will be proficient at the end of that academy and ready to hit the line as a 4th person on a crew for a while until we integrate you into the companies. Typical day would be multifaceted. You're going to start with some PT. Fitness is important. So if you're looking to come in the academy, a couple things to think of. We're looking for people who want to be there to learn, who are team-oriented, okay, have a work ethic, and are fit. So I would encourage you guys to think about your fitness level coming in. So we're going to have some fitness level in the morning. We're going to have a mixture of some cognitive, meaning some classroom-based stuff as we work through ISTA 200. And we're going to have some practical stuff. There'll be a lot of crew-based and individual-based task performance we're working through. Ladders, hose, hydrants. You don't necessarily have to have experience coming in. We're going to teach you all that. We're going to teach you the Gresham way to do it. So, we'll have plenty of instructors on hand, good instructor-student ratio. We'll split you up into groups of times. It'll be a 10-hour day, 4 days a week. That's kind of what it looks like. So we have a plan all kind of mapped out. We've been doing this for a while. We've had about 3 or 4 academies go through here about every 18 months, it seems like. So we kind of have the system down a little bit. If you talk to any people that have been recently hired, I think they will all give you some positive feedback on their time. They look back on their academies as a good time that they had. So it's a lot of work, but it's pretty rewarding also. Does that answer your question okay? Good.
Chief Mayor.
Sure.
From an EMS standpoint too, Captain Ingram and I've talked, we're probably only going to do maybe 1 day of EMS during the academy. During the academy, we really want you guys to work on firefighter skills. Then after you get out of the academy, then I get you. And so every person will be assigned an FTO, a highly experienced, highly qualified paramedic in our system, and every single person goes through an FTEP process. Every single person is expected to go through the same FTEP process to their level of training. EMT basics, we value our EMT basics in this organization. I never want to hear, I'm only an EMT basic. That is not the right attitude. EMT basics have a lot of value in our organization. So I train, the EMT basics are expected to do everything that a paramedic can do. You will learn how to intubate. You will learn how to do surgical cricothyrotomies. You will learn how to defibrillate. You will learn how to run that life pack inside and out. You will learn how to start IVs and do everything in that med box. And the reason I have my EMT basics learn everything is so they can be a really good assistant for the paramedic. So the expectations of our EMT basics are no different than our EMT paramedics. And so you will be, that's one of the reasons that you will go through a full FTEP with the paramedic to learn how to be a great assistant to the paramedic. My philosophy is it's the paramedic's job to take care of the patient, and the EMT's job to take care of the paramedic. And you will be very good at that before you get on with your FTEP.
So a couple of quick notes as a result of the questions. It's a 40-hour, 4 10-hour day class. like any other class, you get out of it what you put into it. And if you assume at 5 or 6 o'clock when they send you home tired and dirty and sweaty from the day, that your day's over, you may be mistaken. You may have a reading assignment. You may have a quiz the next day. You may go home on Thursday beat and have a test on Monday that you have to prepare for. You may have to read ahead so that you're able to maintain. One question was about materials. The IFSTA 200 Essentials, is that the right name, Jeff?
Yes.
Whatever the current edition is. Seventh. Seventh edition is what we will teach from. So we will issue the book and the workbook the first day, but if you want to get it and read ahead, by all means. If you don't need it for us, you'll need it for another department that picks you up down the road. Jeff mentioned you will ride as the fourth person on a rig. In Gresham, all of our units are staffed with a minimum of 3 personnel, one of which is a company officer, a captain or a lieutenant, 2 firefighters, and at least one of those firefighters is a paramedic. If you go to the city of Portland, every rig is staffed with at least 4 personnel. If you go to some other departments, it may depend on whether it's a busy station or a rural station if they have 3 or 4 people. NFPA 1710, not on the quiz today, is fire departments should assemble a certain number of people on the scene within a certain amount of time. Generally, that is done by putting 4 people on an engine and a ladder truck. We run 3 here. We're pretty lean, but I'd match our 3-person crews against anybody else's 4-person crews just about any day. We're really good at what we do. Guys in the stations are really good at what they do. One of the questions was, why Gresham? Gresham, more than most fire departments, really does embrace the diversity of the applicant pool. So whether it's ethnic diversity, male, female, or other diversity, we really do embrace that and try to recruit accordingly. I saw a picture of somebody else's recruit academy just recently. They started 15 people. They had 14 white gentlemen and 1 lady in the class, who was also a white lady. That will not normally be the makeup of a Gresham Recruit Academy. So we really try to look for diverse candidates, maybe not ethnically diverse, maybe not gender diverse, maybe it's where you come from diverse. If we all hired all the same people, it would be a pretty boring place, and it also wouldn't reflect our community. So why Gresham is, it's a diverse community, a lot of different cultures and ethnicities within the community, and we try to reflect that within the fire service department. Anything else from anybody? It's your time now. Yes, sir.
Are veterans preference points applied during the World War, or is that an accumulated score after everything is finished?
Yes and yes and yes. So the Oregon, and Kathy will keep me straight on this one, the Oregon law requires veterans preference to be applied at each stage. But you also have to qualify. So if you don't reach the minimum bar, veterans preference points won't do you any good. But if you are in this band and you're a veteran with preference, you will usually move to this band. So they are applied at each stage. But you have to be successful in that stage to get them applied.
And we just submit a DD-2 version to HR?
Yes.
If you haven't attached it already to your application, you can email it to hr@greshamoregon.gov. Did I get it right? Yes.
Can you please repeat the book that you use for the academy?
So IFSTA, I-F-S-T-A, that's an acronym for International Fire Service Training Association, I believe. Essentials 200 is the book, and it is
7th edition.
7th edition.
Thank you.
Anybody else?
What's the average age of the department?
A lot younger than the people in this room. So we have about 50% of our emergency operations personnel have less than 5 years on the job. So we've had quite a bit of turnover through retirements and other such things. So roughly 100 firefighters on the line and company officers, about 50 of them are less than 5 years on the job. So a relatively young department, but I can't give you an age. We've also had people as old as 45, 50 go through the academy. So, and as young as 18. Not all 18-year-olds are ready for the academy. Likewise, not all 50-year-olds are ready for the academy. Anything else? If you haven't done so already on your way out, please use the sign-in sheet. You will notice that just about everything that was on here tonight is on the online information session. We took this to make those slides. Someplace it says we don't do ride-alongs at this point because there's too many people to do ride-alongs, so if you ask, you'll be told no. And we will see a chunk of you in May. Thank you for your time.
Thank you.